Welcome back to Stuttering Sports. Today is February 24th, 2021, and the topic for today is the Miami Dolphins, why they have the brightest future right now in the NFL, and where do I think they should go this offseason, because this is a very, very, very critical off-season for the Dolphins. They can go down many different routes regarding their quarterback position. They have a good amount of cap space. They have a lot of draft capital. So this is definitely a pivotal offseason for the Dolphins on the offensive side of the ball. Last offseason, we saw them spend a bunch of money on defensive guys such as Byron Jones, Shaq Lawson, Kyle Van Noy. And guess what? It worked out very, very, very well. They almost made the playoffs with hardly an They almost made the playoffs with hardly an offense. So, this is now the offseason to shape the offense. So let's get it started with free agency. They have $22 million in cap space this year, which is 10th in the NFL. Their main need to attack this free agency is most definitely wide receiver. Some candidates for that position are Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, and I'd even throw a Marvin Jones in. You can take a flyer on an A.J. Green plus an Antonio Brown. Now, these are definitely some expensive guys, talking about Robinson, Galladay, Godwin, and Fuller. Those salaries are anywhere from $15 to $20 million per year. Jones would probably cost you about 8 or 9, and Green and Brown, we don't really know what the market is for those guys. But you are definitely trying to pay top dollar for a Robinson, a Godwin, a Galladay, and you could most definitely do so. If you want the more true number one receiver, you can bring in Robinson and Galladay. And what I mean when I say true number one receiver is kind of the guy who does everything right. There really is no weak side to his game. There are no real trade-offs. He just does everything very, very, very well. Now, if you want the more special guy, and what I mean by special is kind of they excel at one thing but maybe lack at something else, you can bring in a Will Fuller or a Chris Godwin, and both of them excel at speed. They're fast guys. They can run by whoever is guarding them. So where do I think they should go? It depends on who they want during the draft, but I will definitely get to that towards the tail end of the video. So it kind of just depends on which receiver wants to come down to Miami. And we don't know who, to be honest with you. We have no clue. But yeah, the top candidates in this order to me are Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, then A.J. Green, and potentially A.B. at 7. It really just depends on if he wants to leave. You are definitely paying top dollar for one of these guys, though. Another thing I've seen kind of thrown out there is the idea of bringing in a running back, Aaron Jones from the Packers. That would definitely not be a great idea to me because they already have Myles Gaskin and he's already the dual threat guy. Why would you bring in a second dual threat guy for probably $12-13 million per year? I don't know. A running back I could see them bringing in is probably Leonard Fournette. You can have the power back to be alongside Myles Gaskin's dual threat back. I could see that working out pretty well. But yeah, it really just depends on the draft. And let's talk about the draft and who I think they should take during the draft. But it depends on who they like during the draft. So with their third overall pick, they can go many, many, many different routes. They could honestly take a new QB if they really wanted to. Now, would I do it? No. But let's talk about the quarterback position and the 3 different routes that they could go down. The first route is you just keep Tua. You rock with Tua. You picked him 5th overall last season for a reason. He's an okay rookie QB. He did not have a great campaign. Didn't really have a good campaign. He had one great game against the Cardinals. He played all right for the other games, but definitely the major road bump during the rookie campaign was the Raiders game, where, he got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick late in the fourth, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and won the game for them. That was definitely not a good look for Tua's. That was definitely not a good look for Tua's future with the Dolphins. But that is route one. Sticking with Tua, I don't think Tua got a fair shot. In year one, he was consistently compared to Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, who had great rookie seasons. Not a lot of rookie QBs have great rookie seasons. So yeah, Tua kind of got the shit end of the stick there. Plus also, who was he throwing the ball to? Jakeem Grant? No disrespect to Jakeem Grant, but he needs more weapons desperately. Myles Gaskin was probably his best weapon, then he was out with injuries and the COVID protocols towards the end of last season. So I don't think Tua was given a fair shot, really. Talking about the third overall pick now with the second route, that is, you can bring in a QB. You can bring in a Zach Wilson, a Justin Fields, or potentially a Trey Lance, whichever one the Jets don't take, and that's assuming if the Jets go QB. The Jets could go Penei Sewell. The Jets could go Devontae Smith. That's what Mel Kiper threw out there. So it really just depends on which QB that you like more. The only way I see the Dolphins doing this is if they're head over heels for a guy like Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, which we've heard no reports of thus far, so I don't think they really are. So, yeah, I really don't see this route happening one bit, but I mean, it could happen, I suppose, if something bad happens with Tua over the next 2 months, knock on wood. But yeah, the third route is Deshaun Watson. And if you can trade for Deshaun Watson, you trade for Deshaun Watson. The trade package that I drew up, what I'm about to do now is throw a bunch of numbers at you, but it'll make sense in 20 seconds. So I think a Deshaun Watson trade package would look like Tua, the third overall pick, their 18th overall pick, their 36th overall pick, their 82nd overall pick, 2022 first, 2022 second, plus a 2022 fifth. So basically what that means is it's 3 first round picks, two second round picks, one third round pick, 1 fifth round pick, and then Tua. So that's a realistic trade package to me. You give up 3 firsts, 2 seconds, Tua, a third, and a fifth. I could see that happening, but that's all depending on what the Texans want to do. They've been very adamant on, we're not trading Deshaun Watson, and I honestly kind of believe them. So if you can bring in Deshaun Watson, you do so, but I don't think you will be able to. So now, let's talk about the draft and all the different routes they could go within the draft. So let's just say they keep 3 and they plan on keeping Tua. The 2 picks there, for me at least, would be Penei Sewell, tackle from Oregon, or Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. The reason why I have Devontae Smith and not Jamar Chase or potentially Jalen Waddle is because I don't think they're going to pick Jamar Chase just because of the Alabama connection that Waddle and Smith have with Tua. And the reason I have Smith over Waddle when I obviously like Waddle more than Smith is because, Smith just won the Heisman. He has a lot of hype around him. He was on the Dolphins senior camp little thing. The Senior Bowl team, so I could definitely see the Dolphins liking this guy more. As they had more FaceTime with him. Now, what would I do in this spot? It depends what you did during free agency. If you didn't bring in a wide receiver, let's just say you struck out, you definitely take Devontae Smith easily, without a doubt. But let's just say you didn't strike out and you brought in an Allen Robinson, I think you pick Penei Sewell. And let's just say they have the third overall pick, and let's just say they don't want to keep Tua. You have to pick the Jets scraps because we know the Jags are going Trevor Lawrence first. There's no debate there. And we don't know what the Jets plan on doing with their quarterback spot. They could decide to take Penei Sewell entirely. So it just depends on who they don't take, whether that be Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. Now, a scenario I'm about to throw out here with the third overall pick, and we'll move down to 18, is what if they decide to trade down? Because that third overall pick, I mean, the Dolphins don't need it. Let's be straight up. They definitely do not need it. They almost made the playoffs last year. As a team like the Broncos or the Panthers could look at that and say, whoa, we can get a chance to leapfrog the Falcons and potentially pick a QB. What would a trade package like that look like? I think if the Dolphins were to make a trade with the Panthers, the Dolphins would be receiving the 8th overall pick, the Panthers' 2nd being the 39th overall pick, a 2022 3rd plus a 2022 5th in exchange for the 3rd overall pick. That's a really good trade package to me. Then when you look at the Broncos being 1 pick down, they do have to give up a little bit more. The Broncos could give up 9 overall, 40th overall, their 2nd round pick, then a 2022 2nd. They have to give up a little bit more than the Panthers. That's just how it works. It's as simple as that. The reason why I don't have the Panthers giving up their 2021 3rd round pick is because they're already giving up their 1st plus their 2nd. I don't see them throwing in their 3rd as well. That's why I have 2022 3rd instead. So yeah, do I think they'll trade down? I could honestly see it, but probably not. It depends on what they do during free agency with the wide receiver position. If they're super confident with the wide receivers, then yeah, you could definitely do so and just add more draft capital to help build this team up even more. But I don't think they should, because I really think they should pick a receiver with their 1st overall pick. Well, the 3rd overall pick. I meant to say their first round pick. And let's just say they do trade down with the Panthers and had the 8th overall pick. What if the Bengals say, well, we want Jamar Chase. We want to give Joe Burrow his guy from LSU. Do you want? That's fair. The Eagles, they don't have a wide receiver core from shit. They just committed to Jalen Hurts by giving up Carson Wentz. The Eagles say, well, we like Jalen Waddle a lot, so we're going to pick Jalen Waddle. And then the Lions are sitting there like, well, the fucking Heisman winners right there. Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr. are most likely going to leave. You're really just stuck with Danny Amendola. Yeah, you definitely pick whichever receiver is on the board. So now the Dolphins are sitting there with the 8th overall pick going, damn, we didn't get any of the top 3 receivers. And then they just got to go from there, really. And that's a shitty spot to be in, because I think no matter what they do during free agency, I could see them picking a wide receiver and it working out very, very, very well. I do stand by my Penei Sewell pick, but once again, well, if you can get more weapons, I would not blame you whatsoever. So I don't think they should trade down. I don't think they will trade down, but I wouldn't blame them for just saying, well, we had a great free agency. Let's just trade down, get more draft capital, and get more young guys around this team, especially on the defensive side. But we'll talk about the defense after this 18th overall pick. 18th overall pick. Where do they go? They have 2 first, 18th overall pick. These are the guys that I've kind of listed out. They could take running back from Bama, Najee Harris, edge rusher from Miami, Gregory Russo, linebacker from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and a more unlikely selection would be Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida. The most likely selection of these would be Najee Harris to me. I think you can bring in a power back, kind of like what I mentioned with Leonard Fournette. You can bring in a power back to be alongside Myles Gaskin and just give Tua more of that rushing game. Because let's just say that Tua doesn't make the 2nd year jump. Well, you're going to have to be a rush-first offense then. And why not bring in Najee Harris and Myles Gaskin and have the dual threat mixed with the power back? That's a fantastic rushing attack. That's kind of like what the Browns have with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Not saying Najee Harris is Nick Chubb. I'm just saying they kind of draw that comparison of Nick Chubb being the power back, Kareem Hunt being the dual threat, Najee Harris power back, Myles Gaskin dual threat. So I do definitely think they should bolster up their rushing game during the draft, picking up a Najee Harris. But But on the other hand, if they wanted to go defense, Gregory Russo, to me, is an extremely raw prospect that Brian Flores, one of my favorite coaches right now, could definitely mold into a beast. They have Shaq Lawson, Kyle Van Noy. They have veterans there. Gregory Russo, to me, would benefit a lot from being with the Dolphins. He already went to Miami University. He gets to stay in the city. There's no state tax. Gregory Russo, to me, I would not mind that pick whatsoever. Owusu Korma from Notre Dame. That's just because their inside linebacker definitely needs a little bit of help. If they're really high on this guy like I kind of am, well, I would not blame you for picking up that defensive kind of signal caller, getting in a leader. I'm bringing in basically a rookie leader, an inside linebacker. I would not blame them at all. And then Kadarius Toney, that is kind of if you don't pick Devontae Smith and you still want that fast gadget guy, then Kadarius Toney could be your guy. So yeah, the 18th pick, I would go Najee Harris, but that's all depending on how the board falls. We don't know how the board's going to fall. So yeah, the Dolphins have a great offseason ahead of them, a very pivotal one at that. Last offseason was very pivotal for their defense. Brian Flores brought in his guys. And then this offseason, Brian Flores should bring in his guys. He has the free agency money. He has the draft capital to do so. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 4 top 50 picks in total, and the third-round pick being 82nd overall. They have the draft capital. They have the money. They already have a good team. They have a great coaching staff. I'm just excited to see what the Dolphins do. They have the brightest future in the NFL right now. And the reason I say that is because I would trust Brian Flores that much. I'm not a Dolphins fan myself, but I really like watching that team play. But it all depends on the quarterback position. It all depends on the quarterback position. This could be the offseason. Let's just say Justin Fields. Let's just say they pass on Fields at 3. He goes in for the Panthers and has a great rookie season. The conversation is all going to be about, oh my God, the Dolphins were so stupid. They stuck with Tua. Tua wasn't even that good. But you can't blame them for sticking with Tua right now when he wasn't given a fair shot last year. He didn't have weapons last year. So what would I do if I were in this spot? I'm going to talk about draft, free agency, all of the above. So just what would I do if I were the Dolphins this offseason, given all the information that I have presented? So what I would do with the 3rd overall pick, assuming he is still on the board, you definitely take Penei Sewell. You definitely take Sewell at 3. He's a great offensive line prospect. He can play guard. He can play tackle. So let's just say Jackson is the better left tackle. Then Sewell can be the right tackle. If Flowers is a good right tackle, then you can move him to one of the guard positions. It really does not matter. He is that flexible. He is that versatile. You can essentially bring him in and plug him in wherever you want, and that's a very, 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 very valuable thing. With the 18th pick, I would definitely go Najee Harris, once again, assuming he's still on the board. You pair him up with Gaskin, just giving Tua more help, giving him more of that running game. Because let's just say Tua doesn't take the second-year jump that some QBs do. Then, he can have a great running game behind him, and you can become a much better run-first offense. Let's just say Tua doesn't take the next leap, and then you just have Gaskin next year. Yeah, Gaskin's really good, but wouldn't you prefer to have Harris and Gaskin so you can have power and dual threat? Later into the draft with their 36, 50, and 82, that's where I think you kind of mold the defense. You could pick a wide receiver because they didn't pick one at 3. So from there, you just pick a receiver and mold the defense however you like. I prefer an edge rusher during the second round so you can get a good one there. Then just pick a receiver sometime. And let's just say you do pick a receiver at 3 with the 82 pick. You could go you could go with a mid-tier offensive lineman and then try to mold him for the future. So yeah, the Dolphins are in a good spot this draft. They really don't have that many needs, and they have a great amount of picks. So talking about free agency now, this is where I think they make major moves. You just get one of the top receivers. It does not matter who. It could be Robinson, it could be Galladay, it could be Fuller. You get one of those three guys because you desperately need to, and you pay top dollar for one of those guys because, once again, you desperately need to. My personal favorite from those three is definitely Allen Robinson, but, well, I do think Fuller would be good if they are looking more towards Jamar Chase during the draft. If they're looking more towards Devontae Smith, that's where you go. Robinson, the reason I'm saying that, because Robinson's more just like the true number one. He's big. He can do everything very well. As Will Fuller is a very good receiver, but you know what? He's definitely more speed than height, as Robinson's kind of more height than speed. So if you take Robinson, you can pick Smith for the speed aspect. If you sign Fuller, you already have the speed aspect. You can go with the number one receiver, kind of like the overall guy with Jamar Chase. I really hope that made sense. But yeah, it just depends on who you pick up during free agency. It depends on which one wants to come on down. You just take whichever one comes down because they're all three very good. And honestly, taking a flyer on A.J. Green or Antonio Brown is not a bad idea whatsoever. I don't think Antonio Brown's going to leave Tampa, but I mean, if you can get AB down in Miami, literally why not? He's still pretty talented than A.J. Green. You can just take a flyer on him. Hopefully he stays healthy, and the more weapons, the better. You can never have enough good wide receivers, especially with a young quarterback. So, yeah, that's going to... Actually, one more thing. If you can trade for Deshaun Watson, you fucking do so, because that's a franchise QB. That's not me sliding Tua whatsoever, but we already know what Deshaun Watson is. We don't know what Tua is. So if you can get Deshaun Watson, by any means, you do so. Gonna do it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends. Leave it a like. It helps out the channel a lot. And if this video is your type of thing, hit the subscribe button and you'll see more videos that are your type of thing. So I hope you enjoyed and have a great day.